by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis. And as always, we appreciate you making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. We're calling this a wide open Wednesday because we're going to have stuff to talk about, but we'll also talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. So you can get on with us on the chat. You can tweet at us horrible things. But as we want to continue to mention, you can also call in now. You can call in on the show. It's great. The number is 478-344-6623 or 478-34. I'm mad. You do that, we'll get you right in, get you squared away, and we'll talk with you. But we'll talk some basketball, talk some football, talk some other crazy stuff that's going on in the sports world. But guys, how we feeling on a hump day, on a Wednesday, right smack in the middle of game week?
Not great, man. I need to get over the hump. These Wednesdays get me, so I'm glad it's a wide open Wednesday. I'm happy to be carried on this show today by the chat and the callers. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just I guess that they call it hump day for a reason because it's all downhill from here. But goodness, let's just get through it and get to Saturday. I'm ready for some football, man. Even though it's Arkansas Auburn, apparently people don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough that we're having some of this terminology flowing around, considering it's week 4. It's not like it's been a long, grueling season, boys. The Razorbacks are 2-1. They have a lot left to accomplish in this season or not accomplish, and so yeah, it is tough that we're having like this much what feels like apathy from the fan base. And I tweeted about it and was getting ratioed before we came on here about just feels like there's no buzz around this game, and everyone was like stunned that I was stunned by how little. They're like, of course there's no buzz. Why would there be buzz? And I'm like, all right, fair enough. I'm just saying. So hopefully we can spicing things up a little bit, and I think by Saturday at least that anxiety will have set in and people will be riled up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's funny where if you ever have the audacity to tweet anything that could be considered positive when people are mad, they will just come at you, man. They will just come at you. Be like, you know what? I think this team might be able to beat Mississippi State. Oh, in what world could they beat Mississippi State? It's like just they become this demon that just comes out of like their soul, just comes flying in out of the woodwork. So. But yeah, ratio. I haven't heard the term ratioed in a while, Andrew. So I'm glad you threw that out there.
Well, ratio's changed a little bit. I thought it used to be when you had like more replies than likes. But now the children have changed it to where if I reply underneath your tweet and my tweet gets more likes, that's a ratio.
Oh, okay.
But back in the day, do y'all remember when that was a thing though? When it was like if you had more replies than likes or something like that.
Yeah, that was my favorite thing of just seeing an awful tweet, then looking at the numbers and seeing like 5,000 replies but 300 likes. It's like,
they changed it now though. They don't show all that stuff anymore.
We just sounded very old with that conversation, and it reminds me of a comment from last night. Andrew, I know you probably saw it, but we were getting heated up. For the record, it's not a sponsored chat. It's not a freaking donation. It's a super chat, you old heads.
Oh.
I did see that.
We were getting teed off on them.
I'll be honest with you though. I've kind of wondered why somebody, I can't remember which one of y'all was saying sponsored comment, but I was like, sponsored comment.
That was me.
Whatever we want it to be.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't think anything. I didn't think anything of it until that guy said it. And I was like, oh.
Well, see, to me, the reason I like calling it a sponsored comment is because you're providing money to be able to have your comment go to the top of the list and be mentioned, and your name's going to be on it. So you get your attention, you get your promotion. So it's kind of like what we do in advertising with all of our sponsors. It was a sponsored comment because you got something out of it. So that's why. It's better than a super chat. It sounds like something that
we're giving you a large platform, so be thankful.
Yeah, yeah. You should just be thankful that we're even allowing your name to be put out there, as terrible as your comments may be. But no, we do appreciate them all, though. And
also,
we'll get
shout out to everyone in this chat, by the way, just because we just talked about how there's so much apathy in the fan base and how people don't seem to be excited for this game. But you got folks Wednesday of a game week against Auburn that nobody feels great about. They're just in here rocking with us. And that is something, man.
Yeah. I mean, I had people rocking with me last night playing video games. So people are just, they're itching for anything, which we appreciate always. But we'll talk and get to your calls because I know we got a few people already calling in. So we'll definitely get to those here soon, as well as your chats. But as the title suggests, I wanted to bring this up because I was listening to the players' press conferences and interviews last night. And, most of the time there's really nothing just kind of like it's nothing substantial. But one of the things that got brought up with Fernando Carmona was about Ja'Quinden Jackson. And I think everybody has seen through 3 games that, at least at this point in time, he's the best player on the offense. He's not be perfect. He's still got to hold on to the ball a little bit more because we know fumbles have been an issue. But he's definitely the go-to guy and without question the best running back on the team. So I was looking at it. I was like, okay, so through 3 games, which I know 2 of the games were non-conference opponents and everything, I want to be the on-pace guy. Right now, where it stands, if Ja'Quinden Jackson was able to continue to put up the numbers he's been putting up, he's going to end up rushing for 1,588 yards on the year. And also 24 rushing touchdowns. I don't think that one is going to happen, but still. And if you wanted to equate that with Arkansas all-time greats, that would put him at 3rd all-time in a season at rushing yards behind Darren McFadden, where he had 1,830, as well as Darren McFadden, who had 1,647. I would have him surpass Alex Collins. So my question to y'all is that if Ja'Quinden Jackson stays healthy, if he keeps up this pace, if he has that type of year where he rushes for over 1,500 yards, does that equate to a certain amount of wins for Arkansas? What does that mean about him individually as well as the team? Just what's the overall impact if he's able to eclipse that mark in the rushing game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would certainly help them be a better football team and get better results if he, rushes for one of the best seasons in Arkansas program history. I don't know that it would make a crazy dent in the overall wins. I give him an extra win maybe if he does that, because I think, John, you're the one that's on the record saying it, but I kind of expected him to be 1,000-yard back anyway. And then I picked this team to go 5-7. So if he does more than that, sure. Yeah. I'll bump him up to 6 wins or something. And I hope he does, man, because he has been fantastic. And he just passes the eye test. It's one thing to beat up on UAPB or UAB or whatever. We don't know how good Oklahoma State's run defense is, but goodness, man, when he touches the ball and he hangs on to it, the way he hits the hole is just different. And the way he breaks tackles and moves out there is just different. He's an absolute stud. I think he's one of the best backs in the SEC, and I bet the stats reflect that at the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how he's remembered and viewed by Hog fans, because I've seen some people in the comments already touching on it that, this is his only year as a Razorback. And I don't believe he even has the option to come back next year. And I don't think he's going to be interested in that after producing the season that we're kind of forecasting for him. But I got to be honest, and I agree with everything you guys said. He's awesome. I truly think one of the best backs of my lifetime at Arkansas, in the top 5-ish range of that situation. One of the best backs in the country for sure. And the numbers already reflect that, and we'll see how it holds up. But I was just thinking the whole time John was talking, I was like, just don't feel like he's going to be able to match that pace. Simply because Arkansas would have to be ahead in a lot of games. Now, I do think he is going to, the usage speaks for itself. He's getting 82% of Arkansas's touches from the backfield. And so, if that continues, even if his per game totals in terms of yardage go down a little bit, he's still going to be, the floor for him is pretty high. Because like Curtis said, we kind of expect him to be 1,000-yard guy anyway. But I think there's 2 seasons of recent memory that are pretty similar, actually, because you had Rocket in 2022 runs for 1,400 yards on a 7-6 team. So a very similar situation. Then you have Raleigh Williams 2016. He ran for, I believe, 1,360 yards and 12 touchdowns on a team that finished 7-6 as well. And so that's kind of the echelon he's in, I feel like. And it's kind of weird that Arkansas has had 3 historically great running back seasons, potentially all that end up in 6-7 win seasons.
Yeah, because even for the rushing touchdowns, which I agree, I don't think he's going to be sticking with that pace of getting 24 rushing touchdowns, because not only would that obliterate the record for Arkansas in rushing touchdowns in a season, but it wouldn't even be close. Alex Collins had 20 rushing touchdowns in his final year at Arkansas, but I think 3 of those rushing touchdowns came in the bowl game too. So just to kind of give you a perspective there.
McFadden only had 18, right?
Yes. McFadden had 16 was his highest back in 2007.
Wow. What do we realistically think yardage-wise? Assuming he stays healthy, because the dude's hobbling off the field like every other play. But, 1,200? Is that fair?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's going to finish above the Rakeem Boyd range of 1,100, and he's going to be closer to the Raleigh Williams, Rocket Sanders, in that 1,100-1,400 range. Yeah. Is probably And which, I mean, that what is it? Is that like top 5 in school history? So yeah, I think he's gonna end up being there.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about getting 1,200 yards, averaging 100 yards a game, which I think he's going to do.
Well, he's also, and Sam Pittman was very clear about it, and he knew and we knew, but he said it. He was like, he's our guy. Like, he is the dude. There is no 5-man rotation in the backfield or whatever the hell they were talking about. There is no split carry situation. He is the man, and he's going to get a heavy load of the carries too. So it's not like he's going to be sharing the pill with anybody in the rushing attack aside from Taylon Green. So that's going to help too, because the carries are going to be there for him to get a crap ton of yards.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if you just talk about impact to team, it's really hard to see many offensive skill players in the SEC that mean as much to their team. Like, obviously, there's you guys that are on better teams like Jackson Dart or whoever, and he obviously means a lot to Ole Miss. But if Arkansas is going to accomplish anything this season, it's going to be because they have big games from Ja'Quinden Jackson, and I feel like he allows Arkansas to kind of shorten games. And I wonder if we'll see that. Like, they've been in a lot of high-scoring, easy to go up and down the field, slugfest shootouts. But I do think they're going to be in a lot of games where they're going to be like, you know what? Let's just hand this dude 30 times, and let's just win 2017 behind him, just kind of eating up a lot of clock there. And so I think that's going to be something that Arkansas maybe leans on here a little bit, especially as Taylon Green's accuracy continues to be a question.
Yeah, and let's also look at his he's averaging 8.4 yards a carry, which I also do not think is going to maintain as great as it may be. That's the thing is, like, we know he's been good, but 8.4 yards a carry and 6 rushing touchdowns. He's averaging 2 rushing touchdowns a game. Just I mean, now is the time where, hey, if you keep doing that, Arkansas is gonna, if he has that type of game against Auburn where he's averaging 8.4 yards a carry and getting 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, I'm going to go ahead and pick Arkansas to win that one. Like, that's going to be an incredible performance. But I was also looking, because I know we'll get phone calls, folks, in your chats, because you guys are itching on a wide open Wednesday. But I was curious if he was able to get to, we'll say, Curtis, your number of 1,200 yards. He gets over 1,200 yards. That would put him in the top 10 of all time when it comes to rushing yards in a single season. He's not better than Darren McFadden. Like, that's not even that's stupid to ask. He's not better than Alex Collins. That's stupid to ask. Is he better than Rocket Sanders? If he has that
According
type
to
of
a wise man, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know my answer, but if he had that type of year, would you put him above a Rocket Sanders of like I'm saying all-time Razorbacks, but just running back wise? I mean, I think I would, to be honest, or I know I would, but
yeah,
it's tough.
I don't know. There's so many factors at play that you can't really take into account until it actually happens. It's hard to say. I'd consider it.
Yeah. So they're just different backs. Like, they're both very, very good, and they're both like in the same kind of echelon. Rocket is just a little bit more of a home run hitter, a little bit more of a big play threat. But I guess you could also argue Rocket is more big play dependent, where if he doesn't, if he has those games where he doesn't rip off a 40, 50 yard run, which he did with insane regularity, but in the games that he didn't, it was always like, 19 carries for 64 yards and stuff like that. Whereas Ja'Quinden, I feel like, has a higher game-to-game floor where, like, you're just not going to see him get bottled up completely, where he's going to end up getting you whatever. And I think we'll see that play out throughout the course of the year. But I am also talking about 3 games. So I'm going to say if he's able to reach that mark of 1,200, 1,300, I think you can make an argument for Ja'Quinden, but I really just think they're different backs that are in the same kind of level.
Well, it's funny, too, because I was setting that question up to set this one up because I know it's what you tweeted, Andrew. Raleigh Williams is another running back, 1,360 yards. People forget about old Raleigh in 2016.
Dude, Raleigh, it was kind of crazy. And obviously, when you think about Raleigh Williams, you think about kind of the way his career finished and the crazy injury he suffered in his freshman year. But that's what's so crazy about his 2016 season as a true sophomore. This was post the Auburn injury that he had suffered the year before. He's replacing Alex Collins as the lead back. He had Devwa Whaley was the true freshman who everyone was hyping up big time, like, oh, he's gonna be the guy. And Raleigh Williams just rattles off 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. Was first team All SEC. Ran for 200 yards against Mississippi State, a game I attended. He ran for 180 against Ole Miss. Ran for 137 against TCU. 117 against Missouri. Like, he just rattled off one of the best seasons ever. And then, of course, gets hurt the next year. And, like, we kind of forget because we didn't get to see his career kind of play out the way it should have. But he just kind of quietly, and again, for a team that finished 7-6 and kind of disappointed, just rattled off one of the best rushing seasons ever. And I feel like it's kind of comparable to this Ja'Quinden Jackson season in terms of like, I think we all knew he was good, but I don't know if we really knew it was going to look like this necessarily.
Yeah, and I even throw in for the career rushing yards. I mean, we may not see another one like that because with the transfer portal and seeing the numbers there, it's like you're probably just going to see a lot of 1 year, 2-year guys maybe at the running back position if they end up being really great. So, but yeah, listen, I think we all know that Ja'Quinden Jackson's awesome. He's a player that Arkansas is definitely going to have to count on. And in this game against Auburn, they're going to have to rely on him too, which I know we'll talk a little bit about Arkansas and Auburn and the buzz surrounding the games, and we'll get to that in a second. But we have people that are calling in and actually using our phone line. So I will say I appreciate it because it was a little pain to try to set this dadgum thing up. And so for y'all actually using it, thank you. That's all I want to say. But let's go ahead and have it kick off with Trey, who is in Harrison. What's up, Trey?
How you doing, John?
Doing good, Trey. How about you?
Doing awesome. I, on the other hand, from everybody else, I think Arkansas will win.
Okay.
And unlike everybody else, I have some reasons. Number one, I think Auburn's secondary, like you said this morning on Locked On Razorbacks, I think their secondary is pretty bad, and I think Taylor and Andrew and the entire crew and the receiving and tight ends, all that, will be able to throw the ball on them. And the guy that we've been talking about, Ja'Quinden Jackson, I think he'll be able to rattle off some runs. And yes, I think he's better than Rocket Sanders.
Okay.
So that was it. That and also the NIL thing. I just don't like the whining and crying. Just find the loopholes that everybody else is. Instead of crying about it, go find the loophole.
Yeah.
Instead of playing the victim, go, instead of looking in the rearview mirror, look through the windshield.
All right. Well, appreciate the phone call, Trey. Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you again.
I like that analogy there at the end. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that on the offensive success that Arkansas could have. I know Auburn I think they were missing their top corner, and then they're hopeful or anticipating that he's going to be back. So that would help them probably in terms of having someone who has a chance to guard Andrew Armstrong, although I'm not sure that anyone can. But really, I think it's a couple different things, but mainly, can your other receivers catch the ball, and can Taylor Green get the ball to them? I don't know that it's even so much about Auburn and their ability to defend and cover on the back end as it is Arkansas just being able to hit their targets and their targets to catch the ball, not named Andrew Armstrong. So if they do that, then yeah, they should absolutely have some success. And Jackson could too, for sure, against these guys.
Well, that's what's interesting when you think about this matchup and who's going to win and how these battles are going to play out. And Curtis, you and I are going to hop on the mic to talk about this pot of that nature tomorrow. Just kind of some of the matchups. But if you look at Auburn, they're giving up less than 100 yards per game on the ground. Mm-hmm. They're not really giving up a ton. So you're looking at Auburn and you're like, hey, how are we going to attack them? You'd probably think their secondary is where you would go to do it, but that's kind of Arkansas's pass offense is certainly where all the questions lie. And so you got to ask yourself two questions. Is a quarterback and receiver group that kind of struggled last week, are they going to be able to exploit Auburn's, seemingly shakier secondary, or is Arkansas going to be able to win that battle in the run game? Because nobody's really been able to run the ball at a consistent rate against Auburn. What's the answer to either of those questions? Because you can kind of talk me into both on the Arkansas side, but I can also see how Arkansas's struggling pass offense is not going to do anything against a bad secondary, and they're not going to be able to run the ball like they've been able to do the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I'll also throw in too, which I was fascinated by, which is looking at the numbers and where both teams rank and everything. Defensively, you kind of mentioned it, like the pass defense for Arkansas is 14th in the SEC. Well, the only one that's two of them that are worse. Like Auburn's dead last in pass defense in the SEC. However, in rush defense, Auburn is 8th in the SEC. Arkansas is 3rd in the SEC. But yet, scoring defense, Arkansas is 13th in the SEC and Auburn is 8th. So even though Arkansas defensively with yardage is better than Auburn, the scoring defense is what's not there. So, and last time I checked, that's the most important thing.
It seems like a real common theme so far this season has been that Auburn's defense has really stumbled out of the gates early in games, but the adjustments they make at halftime have really hit home. They've been a completely different defensive team in the second half of their first 3 games than they have been in the first. So, the old, you got to get off to a good start, it probably actually applies here because chances are things are going to tighten up for them afterwards.
Well, and also it's kind of crazy that the Cal game was 21-14. And so you kind of think, okay, they gave up 3 touchdowns, but they also had 4 turnovers on their side. And so it's like only giving up 21 points. It's like just around like a little over 300 yards total of offense for Cal in that game with the 4 picks is actually kind of insane. Like usually when you see a turnover margin like that, that usually leads to a quick drive, touchdown, quick drive, field goal, whatever. They pretty much had 3 score drives, a couple of which were set up by picks. And it's like, it's not like that Auburn defense has had a ton of, they haven't been tested in a big way, but it's not like they've had it. Honestly, the New Mexico game is probably their shakiest performance of the year for Auburn defensively.
Yeah. No, it absolutely might have been. And then, you mentioned those turnovers, and I think that's a big thing for Arkansas is can you generate a couple? You're going up against a 3-star redshirt freshman quarterback who looked really good against New Mexico, but a big part of the reason why he did is because he was just back there chilling the whole game. He had all the time in the world to throw the ball, never under duress, never under pressure, wasn't really getting flushed out, wasn't getting hit. Arkansas just has not been able to get to the quarterback at all. Is that going to change in SEC play? It has to, because they can get that dude rattled and make him eat grass a few times, then maybe they can force him into some mistakes. But if he's back there chilling in the pocket, could struggle on that end too.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Got Jeremy on the line. Let's talk about football. What's up, Jeremy?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
We got you.
Gotcha.
Nice. John, Curtis, Andrew, it's an honor to talk to you guys. I listen to you every day. You guys help me get through my work day with some Arkansas sports, and you guys do a great job, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Andrew, I've commented on a lot of your bombastic stuff, and I've messaged you a couple times on Facebook to talk Arkansas baseball, but you leave me on red. So I'm not bitter. I'm just
leaving me on red, too.
So I was late to the party yesterday. I watched your guys' show after the fact, and you guys talked a little bit, actually quite a bit, about NIL, and I was listening to like Chuck and Bo talk about it this morning as well. And so I kind of want to get my thoughts on that, then like this Arkansas Auburn game. But if I'm being honest, like Curtis, you made a good point yesterday about talking about the ROI that we as fans receive if we're donating to NIL. And it kind of ticks me off a little bit that the expectation is for fans to give to NIL because, I mean, let's be real. Like, and on the Chuck and Bo show, they were talking about, the cost of everything goes up in life and we pay for it, i.e. groceries and fuel. And, if you go to a steakhouse and your steak goes from $20 to $28, or the cost of going up. And that makes sense, but I think it's kind of silly to use that analogy. One, those things are necessities. We need groceries, we need gas, and also back to the ROI thing. I went to the game in Baton Rouge last year, when we had our third timeout burned by the start of the fourth quarter. LSU is driving late in the game. We can't stop the clock. They kick a game-winning field goal. So I have to drive 9 hours back to my house with the thought of we blew that game. And that just seems to be the common denominator over the past couple of years. So it's like, where's my ROI on top of you have these freaking TV deals that are paying 9 figures to these conferences, and yet the backbone of NIL or to get us over the top is supposed to be paid by the fans. When I go to a game, I have a wife and 3 kids. We have one income. We go to a game after tickets, after fuel, after spending $90 on water from the concession stand. You're talking about a grand into the game, a grand into the trip on a Saturday to go watch Arkansas either blow a lead or win a boring, undesirable win against a G5 team. And yet the responsibility, the burden for NIL is to be paid by me. Are you kidding me? I think that's super. I think it's ludicrous. And also the fact, if I go to a steakhouse and my steak is an average steak, but it's worth $20, and the cost goes up to $30. Well, it's not worth $30. I'm walking out. Is this football team worth people giving their NIL money for? If we start turning around, I know the chicken and egg analogy, but I mean, let's face the facts. We are where we are, and this football team, the past couple of years, hasn't been very good. If they start turning that around, people may be more opt to help the NIL program. But I say all to say, man, like, come on, you have these rich executives and these people making a lot of money, but the burden for the NIL is to be on us. The cost of everything else goes up. We go to the game, we spend our hard-earned money, but oh, by the way, we need you to give money to the NIL. Give me a break. Start winning some football games, and maybe we can talk. And by winning football games, I don't mean 37-27 over UAB or 28-6 over Kent State, or how about you catch a muff punt, or how about you do this against Oklahoma State and not blow a 21-7 halftime lead? How about you start doing those things, first of all? Second of all, I'm done with the NIL. This is my last point, then I'll hang up and listen to you guys. It's just so frustrating. It genuinely, like, it really upsets me. Like, let's figure this out. Figure this out, man. But also, back to this football team, I'm torn. This is such a hard year to read because, we see what we did against Oklahoma State. We played fairly decent. The yardage, our defense looked fairly good. So there's that optimism. But then you start thinking about it. We've played 3 games, and in 2 of those games, it's been the exact same blueprint as last year. You blow close or you lose close games. You can't figure out a way to win. And then you come home to Fayetteville, which you haven't performed since 2022 against the UAB team, and it's tied at halftime. What are we doing? So it's one of those things. And to me, being a huge Arkansas fan, of course, I'm delusional thinking we're going to go beat Auburn, which I think there is a chance, and I hope we do. And if we can, the key is if we can clean up the mistakes. But how many times do we go into the season or go into a game saying, man, if we just clean this up, we're going to win? And how many times does it happen? It never happens. It's almost as if there's a hole in the dam, and then Sam Pittman goes and put his finger on the hole, and then there's another hole that sparks up, and he goes and put his other finger, but when he goes and stops that hole, another hole comes on. So it's like, if we can fix these mistakes, that's been the sentiment the past 2 seasons. If we could do this, and it never happened. So I hope they prove me wrong. I hope I eat my words. With all that being said, I think we're going to beat Auburn. So I'm with you, Andrew. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'll hang up and listen, but I appreciate you guys giving us a phone line and a voice to speak. And I'll listen to you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
That's a banger right there.
Say, if you want to be a fill-in host, well, let us know anytime.
That was a great call. And he made a lot of really good points there, honestly. Something that struck me, I just thinking back, to what he was saying about this UAB game and everything and return on investment. A lot of people are ticked off about the situation. They're saying, oh, well, if we talked about the Lane Kiffin thing, like, oh, I might donate to that, or why would I donate to a lame duck coach or whatever? I get it. Did you guys read that article? I retweeted it yesterday, but John Talty put it out. He followed UAB and Trent Dilfer around last week in preparation to the game. And it was all this stuff about how, they were just meticulous about every single avenue they could find to gain an advantage against Arkansas. They had plans A through Z lined up, and it was just super detailed. I thought it was a fascinating read, and that's great. And then it almost worked out for them. And then I just keep thinking back to that press conference, with the players last week, where it was like, hey, what can you tell us about UAB? Well, not a damn thing. Starts at the top, man. And so that actually made me even madder after reading that article. And if you people haven't done it, if you're looking for another reason to be pissed off, then maybe you should. But that one was wild. Echoed on all the NIL stuff. I get it. I understand why people are frustrated. They feel like they were gaslit by this thing, and the return on the investment isn't there. It's just the unfortunate reality of where this thing is at right now. And that's part of why the whole combination of all of this, why apathy is setting in with a decent amount of the fan base, and it's week 4. So
yeah, on the NIL front, I did just want to say, shout out to Daniel Shee, because it's his birthday, by the way. But I saw him tweeting about this because he's been doing some research. But he said that Arkansas has the highest minimum payment amount of any collective in the SEC.
This is also true.
It's the lowest you could possibly pay is $25, which I'm not saying $25 is a lot of money, but it's like, dude, I know a lot of people that if they could give $5, they would give $5. And so it's like, that's another thing where it's like, it's not where we're saying, hey, it's a problem that fans are being asked to donate to collectives. Like, we get it. That's what these collectives are. But it is weird that it's like, we're going to make up this deficit of, people doubling our payment in the SEC, and we're going to get that from fans. You know what I mean? Like, that's not where that comes from. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I agree with a lot of what Jeremy said, man. And yeah, I think in terms of the actual game, though, because I wanted to touch on what he said, I keep coming back to I picked Arkansas to lose 30-28 in the preseason, kind of viewing it as hey, they'll have a chance on the road, similar team, but it's just hard for me to believe they're going to end up on the wrong side of all of these small things that the games come down to. And and your point, even hammered it home a little bit, Curtis. I just am having a hard time really believing in my heart that Arkansas is going to get all of the little things right and get those breaks in the games, because it's not like it's just a bounce of the ball. A lot of times, luck is just when preparation meets opportunity, Curtis. That's what they say. And I don't know if Arkansas's preparation and opportunity are going to line up.
Well, let me just say this to that point, because I know we talked a lot about NIL yesterday, but let me say this when he was talking about the amount of money that Arkansas makes from the SEC when it comes to the SEC network and how much it costs and everything. And I totally understand it. Totally understand it. But in the defense of the U of A and Yurchek and everybody, people got to understand that football pays for every sport on campus. And that includes travel for all those sports. That includes the facilities, everything. So even though, yes, it's they get a lot of money, they get $50 million or whatever it is per year. It's not like that's going into Hunter Yurchek's back pocket. It's going back into the athletic department because it costs a lot to run an athletic department. But the disconnect, and I'm glad you brought up as far as the minimum amount that's there for the NIL collective that they're asking for, that is what's rubbing people the wrong way. Is they see and look around, they're like, okay, these other programs are having success, yet you're wanting to charge us more in a state where we have less. And what is our incentive in this? Like, we don't know where it's going. We don't know what player it's going to be paying for. What we get a hoodie? Okay, great. What else do we get? At least with the foundation and things, it's like, okay, wait, the more you donate to the foundation, the better seats you get for your season tickets. Like, it kind of has a way of showing incentive. But if people don't know what the incentive is and they're not getting enough out of it, then they're not going to want to donate. They're not going to want to give up their money for that.
Yeah, and it just goes back to me to like timing and reading the room with everything. Like it was the timing of the message, even more so than the actual message, that ticked a bunch of people off. And then you like follow up the next day where it's like this very clear campaign to promote this. Like, you're seeing every player tweet out about Arkansas Edge, and we appreciate the support. No, we've got this Justin Moore concert or whatever it is. Like, everybody on the roster is putting out that message, and that's cool. And like, you want that. You want to see that the players support it and they're picking up what, the collective or whatever is putting down. But it's like, why are we doing this right now? I don't know, man. Whoever's making those decisions needs to think about it a little bit before they act. That's all.
Dude, it's so funny that this whole thing just comes down to the university being like, give us money, and the fans being like, be better at football. Yeah. Like, it really does come down to that. Like, we can sit here and talk about the nuance of all this and the ideas and, what we're going to do. It really just comes down to, when you're bad at football, it's hard to have these conversations. And it's funny that they're choosing now to have them.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I see all sides and I try to look at it from all perspectives, but I'm definitely kind of more so on the fan side on this one, because it's just like you said, Andrew, it's like, hey, yeah, be better. If you want money, be better. That's how you get my money. That's how you put into it. It's like, that's why you don't go to certain restaurants if their food sucks. It's like, hey, why don't you come here? It's like, well, make your food better and I'll go over there. The consumers are pretty simple. Like, they're just like, do good for us and we will be willing to pay you money for it. Simple.
If you order a steak, one of those expensive $28 steaks at a restaurant, and it doesn't come out the way you want, guess what? You send it back and they get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay for it afterwards. You don't pay for it in advance, and then they bring out your plate and it's like, oh, well, what you see is what you get. Thanks for your money. It works the exact opposite. So
you can't refuse to tip your football team. You just can't do it.
No, they want to add that tipping charge if for parties more than 8. Apparently, that's all those hidden fees that they want to throw in there. But yeah, great calls though. I know NIL is always going to be something that people want to bring up and want to get into. But yeah, few people here in the chat though that are getting, like Jeremiah says, I'm too poor to buy tickets to a game. Last time I bought tickets, they were $75. I don't like, how much are they now?
Yeah, I don't know, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you want a decent seat and a good experience, like independent of the actual product on the field, and you gotta pay for it. And so, yeah, I mean, stuff's not cheap, man.
You know what my idea is, and it's not going to change anything like as far as wins on the field, but because you got what 75, 80,000 people at max that Arkansas Razorback Stadium could fit, I think they need to make the lower deck all the way around just chairbacks. It'd take out like 20,000 seats or whatever it is, but at least it would make people not be like, okay, so I'm paying this much money to sit on a bleacher. At least like make it to where you're not like, how often are you going to fill out 80,000 people in that stadium anyways? In most stadiums, it's not going to be too often. So let's try to make it more comfortable for the fans. But yeah,
Your
75
team's not
bucks.
going to be good. They got to be really cozy in their seat.
Winning games, John.
Yes.
That's how we'll be more comfortable.
Oh, trust
I don't
me.
need to sit on metal.
If this was a good football team, they'd never be sitting down anyway.
That's right.
I'll
Yeah, it's
sit
like,
on metal for a winner.
yeah. Well, people are just like, yeah, if you're a true fan, you're standing up through the whole game, cheering on your team. Shouldn't be sitting down in the bleachers. So there's always things that they can do. I'm just trying to help out here. Tucker says, do you think 100,000 Arkansans would be willing to donate $10 a month, which is $120 a year, which would equal $12 million in 1 year towards NIL? No, they wouldn't.
But I think there'd be, to your point though, like I think there'd be a heck of a lot more willing to do that than willing to start at 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a decent chunk of change, man. Like that's a bill. That's a utility.
Mm-hmm. That's why I felt like you could do some, maybe, sure, other places have done it. Like if you're talking about food prices or drink prices, just be like, all right, well, just add on $1 to the price of water, which I know is expensive, but just add on $1 and be like, hey, every bottle of water you buy at the stadium goes to the NIL, $1 from it. Like something like that. Like do it in those hidden ways that kind of confuses people. Be like, oh, well, I can afford $1. It makes it a lot easier to deal with. Yeah, well, sorry. In the area I sit in, that we have free beer, so we don't pay for such things.
By the way, I'm glad that I just want to touch on Kingsley's comment here because I see a lot of people that are like, oh, well, the athletic department makes this amount. To be fair, and Kingsley says the money UA makes can't go to NIL. That's not what NIL is for, and that's the problem. School should be profit sharing with the players as their primary source of income, and NIL should be a bonus. Yeah, and that's what, I would love to do the thing where it's like, hey, the rich folks that make all the money at the school should just pay them or whatever. It's, that's the thing is like they've been funding the athletic department with that money for years, and now NIL is kind of on top of that. And so it's really not as simple as like the school just paying players. Although, I mean, we're not that far away of it. We're in a little bit of a gray area, so we'll see at what point. But I wonder if there's going to end up being a players union one day, or a players association, like some type of thing. I mean, literally every sports league has them. So
no, it wouldn't surprise me. Zach saying every other collective in the country is funded by the fans. I don't understand why this is a conversation. I don't think it's the conversation of the money from the fans. It's I think the amount and the timing kind of it all. Like and
it's the idea that the collective is somehow supposed to like be holding together everything that the school does NIL wise. Like, let's be honest, John, we are not responsible for how John Tyson wants to spend his money. Like, we're just not. You know what I mean? And so it's like a lot of the stuff. Fans are willing to donate, willing to do their part, willing to do whatever. But it's the idea that that's supposed to be like the main driver of these rosters is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I like this. It's actually a decent idea. The roundup method, you buy a shirt or something in the stadium and have an option to round up. It's simple and quick. It's like, hey, you want this 74 cents to go to the Ronald McDonald House, or do you want it to go to NIL? Pick the button. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Now, I wonder which button Razorback fans will pick.
Exactly.
You want to go to the shelter for abused dogs, or you want to go new linebacker?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And no one's going to say it publicly. So they're going to do it to just like covering up the screen when they hit the button to make sure no one sees which one they hit.
What y'all think about our guy Kopesky?
They are.
Let's say everybody's cheating.
I mean,
But you think Arkansas is being like, no, we're not going to cheat. We're not going to do any of that.
Yeah, the idea that people think Arkansas doesn't cheat, like in any, like doesn't, at least bend the rules in all these things, even football. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, Stripius Wig says, I just turned off subscriptions to save $40 a month. I think most Arkansans are more in that lane than been able to afford another $100 a month bill. Yep.
True.
I mean, it's just about the connections there that you have for the common fans.
Isn't it sweet that we don't add to y'all's bills?
It's true.
I'm talking to the chat,
Free 99. That's what we do here.
We just give,
because
we
of that
just
reason.
give you knowledge for nothing.
The goodness of our hearts. That's what we do. I'm glad that Andrew's dad could jump into the chat here. From Ellis Home Inspections, LLC. Says, whoop pig, I think NIL is a problem for everyone. Tennessee is raising prices to help them with the NIL, and I'm sure other programs won't be far behind that move.
Is that helping them with NIL, though? I mean, I don't know, but it's
winning
part of
is.
It's prepping for the revenue sharing thing that's coming down the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fee, which I guess is, in a way, the
once
same
that becomes an official real thing, I think fans really won't even complain much about stuff like that. I mean, they will still complain about things being expensive because that's what we do in society, and I have no problem with that. But I think people will at least understand the oh, you know what? Revenue sharing is going to go to the players. Okay, I'll buy that $64 T-shirt.
By the way, I hate to say this, but it just made me think of it. There's no better program for the big three major sports right now than Tennessee, right? Tennessee has to be the best one. I mean, football's killing it. Baseball just won a natty.
Is it the
basketball?
Directors Cup that does the thing where it's like all the sports combined? They need one for just the three majors.
Yeah. So that way, Arkansas is not always in it. At the end.
When I was growing up, I felt like it was Florida all the time. Like they were always really well rounded.
I got this comment from Wildest. He says, I love football like everyone else, but I'm a baseball guy, and I'd rather build a baseball and basketball team with NIL and have a higher chance to win a natty than be mid every season in football.
Well, guess what? You get both of those. You get to compete for titles in basketball and baseball and be mid every football season already. Like that's already the world we live in.
This is your reality.
It's not, not like that would change at all.
Literally what's happening.
Jeez.
That cracked me up.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Auburn game a little bit too, because people are throwing it in there. But I want to go ahead and give the floor though to our very own Andrew Ellis, because he's got to find reasons here to Andrew. Why should people be excited? Because you've been talking on Twitter, it's like there's not really much buzz. Why should people be excited about this Arkansas and Auburn game?
It's not even that they should be excited and they should be giddy. But I just think there's so much riding on it because so much of this season and this program and this team is going to be kind of decided Saturday. Not officially, but if Arkansas loses this game, those kind of conversations of hey, is this the end of the road? They start happening pretty soon after. And if Arkansas wins that game or wins this game Saturday, then it's okay, now you're playing A&M and fans would assumingly be pretty excited about that. And that's a winnable game. And so you're talking hey, if we win this game, then all of a sudden you're on a pretty good trajectory. I feel like both of those things being potentially at the end of the tunnel on Saturday should at least get some type of reaction from the fan base. I would understand if fans were man, I'm really nervous. I really don't want us to lose this Auburn game because then we got to beat A&M. I'm surprised I haven't seen more of that anxiety along with the people who are dying to get out the pitchforks, because I would understand that as well. And so it's if you got your pitchfork ready or you're excited thinking Arkansas is going to win, I just feel like people don't care about the game at all. The result of the game and the result of this season just does not matter to folks at this point, which is crazy because again, it's week 4.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's all about how it's played out so far, because think about how, just pumped people were after that UAPB game, which everybody knew going into that exactly how it was going to play out, but you see it and it just renews and it almost it justifies all the hope and optimism that you tried not to feel in the preseason, but you couldn't help it. And then it's just been back to square one. And it's, you hear, you see the same problems playing on the field, 1-score losses. You can't get up to play at home. It's the same sad song. And then you hear the same things over and over and over about, well, no, this is a different team. And oh no, we're going to clean this up. Oh, we're working on it. I think until people see different, they're not going to feel different. They're almost past the point of the benefit of the doubt and everything like that. So my hope is that Arkansas goes out there and plays well. And I don't even know that they have to play their A game to beat Auburn. Do we think that, I don't think they have to play exceptional to go down there and do it, but they got to get a dub and start changing their own narrative, because I think we're reaching the point where the fans are going to do it for them. And this is usually this time of week where people start to turn around, they're pissed off from the weekend before, but you get a few days out of a game and people are you know what? nah, man, Hogs got this. Nah, yeah, Auburn lost to Cal. Come on now. But we're not seeing as much of that right now because I think people are just tired of flipping the narrative themselves. They want to see the team actually back up what they're saying and go out there and do it on their own.
Well, and then also to throw it in, like we talked about before the season, and it could be like this for every sport. Like we said, Razorback fans have never been in a more wait and see mode, like show me something. And let's be honest, so far, they haven't shown anything. I mean, yeah, you smoked UAPB, big whoop. You struggled against UAB and you won, but no one's impressed by that. And then Oklahoma State, you blew it. So still, fans, they want to be excited. Like fans always want to be excited, but until you show them something concrete, something legitimate to be excited about, fans are just saying, all right, well, until we've proven otherwise, we're just not going to get into it. Now, if they beat Auburn, if they find a way to finally stop being dumb and go out there and win a game that they play well, they don't make dumb mistakes and everything, you're going to get fans back. They're going to be like, okay, we'll beat A&M. Like, we'll be back. But when was the last time that Arkansas proved themselves against any sort of quality team that they are good or they have any belief? I mean, it's just been so long. So that's why I feel like there's no buzz, and there's not going to be any buzz until they see otherwise. And I don't blame them. It's been rough. It's been tough.
They might have to go up 7-0 on the first possession Saturday before people get excited.
Yep. And then everyone's going to be like, but hold on. Even if they're up 21-0 at halftime, it's going to be like, well, let's see. You know, I'm not getting too crazy, but that's just the way it is.
Weird because, like, okay, there was so much excitement going into that Oklahoma State game. Like, everybody was, I mean, like, every stream we did was popping off. Like, there was so much buzz around that game. And then they lose, and everyone tells us everything's fine. Like, oh, no, like, this team's fine. This team's fine. You guys are overreacting. And now I don't even see those people. You know, like, I wonder if
now it's very obvious that it's not all right. You know, like you could get away with it for one game, and still you can look and say, it's on the road. It was a top 20 team. But this team is different. You know, it's different. They're going to come together. And then you come out the next week and nearly do the unthinkable and lose the freaking game, but you just have another home clunker against a crappy team. And I mean, now people, like, what do they have to hang on to? I'm not saying like, oh God, they're not going to win another game this year or whatever. But in terms of, no, like, this is really going to be a turning point season, and man, they're trending in the right direction. Well, they're not. People just have to see them prove otherwise now. Like, talk is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess there's also people that just got burned by being so confident in that Oklahoma State game. And people were talking like we were idiots for even considering that Oklahoma State could win. Like, they were really confident. So I guess they just don't want to be publicly putting themselves that far out there ahead of this game. But I wonder if there is like a sneaky, portion of the fan base that's like really confident. I mean, I see Jeremiah in here acting like Arkansas is about to just rout them. I wonder if there's like a sneaky portion that's like confident but scared to admit it.
Yeah, I bet you there is. I bet you there's fans that are coming out and saying like, oh, this team sucks, they're not any good, but then in the back of their mind, like, man, but we could beat Auburn. It could happen. It's just a matter of what you want to put your faith in. If you're more of an optimistic person or a pessimistic person, at this point in time, it doesn't bother me for anybody feeling any sort of way, because we don't know. Like, this is a game, even with Auburn, I have no idea. I have zero clue. This game could be high scoring. This game could be 20-17. Like, I have no idea. Both teams are weird. So it's just what makes it fun to talk about, and mysterious, but also frustrating all at the same time. Got to, of course, read a comment from Petrino Durrell, attorney at law, one of our favorite ones here, but it says, I've become numb to Razorback football the past decade. I still watch, but it's no longer worth my energy to be upset. That's a shame, but I get it. It ruins some people's days.
I was definitely there. Chad Morris era, where like I reached a point where I was like, I'm not just gonna, like, I had to make a decision where I was like, I just can't even like think about the games, can't even enjoy anything. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't know. I'm not gonna tell anybody how to feel. It's hard. It's hard to really talk yourself into this.
Yes. Yeah. Also, one of our highest commenter ever is the higher ed guy. Says, should Arkansas coaches try to reimagine what the offense has been historically running to a more balanced to actually get more wins? I could see that out of this offense.
I mean, I don't know. I think right now they're one of the best rushing attacks in the country, and they're not one of the best passing attacks in the country. So like Sam Pittman said, they could probably run it more. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see him lean on that. And as soon as I tweeted about it after Sam Pittman said, everybody's like, you can't run the ball every play. You got to pass it. You got to be balanced. Yeah, no shit. I understand that. Thank you for that, by the way. But when your quarterback's completing 42% of his passes, but your rushing attack is picking up 12 yards a pop, yeah, lean on that a little bit more. I think if you're looking for identity and what you are as an offense, it starts with the rushing attack, period.
Yeah, and I think they kind of realized that against UAB, where they were in a matchup where you were facing a team that's strength was its pass defense and was really kind of shaky against the run. And so I think they kind of had to come to terms with because they always say it's about us. It's not about the opponent. It's like, kind of is about the opponent. And so like it'll be interesting to see what they do in this matchup though, because what if they can't run the ball against Auburn, which I'm not saying is going to happen, but Auburn hasn't really been run on a ton this year. Like it's certainly a possibility. And so I think that's what also, if you're talking about what this matchup against Auburn means, it's going to tell us a lot, because if they can't get it going against Auburn, it's going to be really hard to really be like, oh yeah, this team's going to be able to stay afloat because of its run game, unless they're on the road against an average SEC team.
Which, by the way, is a good segue into our Alumni Hall question of the day here on Inside Arkansas Live. I appreciate Alumni Hall partnering with us here. You can go and check out all the greatest Razorback apparel there at Alumni Hall, conveniently located at 3417 North College Avenue. But you can also shop them online at alumnihall.com to see all the great different items of apparel. You see them right there listed. You got Southern Tide, you got Columbia, Tommy Bahama, Johnny O, Peter Millar, Nike. Have it all for men, women, kids, everybody. If you want the new outfits, get your fit ready for if you're going to the Auburn game, maybe you're going to A&M game, maybe you're going to Tennessee game. Maybe you just want something new because it's a bad luck shirt that you've been wearing because the Razorbacks have been sucking since you've worn it. Your number one place to go to Alumni Hall. Right there in Fayetteville, it's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. So just a simple question. I actually asked this as more of a polling question because we were talking about it with Ja'Quinden Jackson. Will Ja'Quinden Jackson rush for 1,500 yards this season? He's on pace for 1,588. I don't know if you guys have looked at it as far as percentages go for the vote on my Twitter, but what would you say percentage-wise has said yes among Razorback fans? Just a guess.
39%.
I was going to go over 50. I think a bunch of fans think he's going to go for 1,500.
Yeah, 72% said yes.
Wow.
Yeah. See, and people said that they don't have excitement. Yeah.
It makes 0 sense.
They probably don't even know.
We're out on this football team, fire the coach, but you got the best running back in the history of college football. There you go.
1,500 yards. Easy. Sure. Easy peasy. Like I saw it.
I don't see 1,500 yards. He would have to rattle off some monster games, which, I mean, I'm sure he will, but I don't know. Like that also, you can't really have a stinker. You can't have any games where you get bottled up, where I feel like there's going to be, whether it's the Texas game, Ole Miss, whoever, where each has like 31 yards. So I'd imagine it's closer to the 1,200 we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Well, I was just laughing because I assumed it was going to be more so no than yes. I'm wondering if anybody even looked at like the records of Arkansas football and what these running, like how much 1,500 yards would be. It would literally, like as you mentioned, if he just got right to 1,500 yards, like even, he would be the 4th all-time leading rusher in a single season in Razorback football history. And a lot of these, and the other guys too, when they rushed for that included their bowl game performance. So say if, I assume Arkansas will go to a bowl game. We don't know, but if they don't, he still got to that. Yeah, like, still, you're talking about like literally right there among the all-time greats. So, yeah, just maybe look at that next time and see. Make sure before you answer, just be like, 1,500, no problem, easy.
I'm glad people are optimistic about it. I'm surprised it was that much. Very surprised.
Yeah. Well, it's already starting to go down because I think people were like, what? I got to go answer that one and try to balance the averages there. But we may look at that at the end of the show and then see how much it changes, if at all. But you know how Razorback fans are. They just do things with no explanation and no change. So
what do we think he's going to do this weekend? Like, let's set the over. I don't want to steal your thunder, John. I don't know if you've already done this for an over-under, but like, what would we set it at for Ja'Quinden Jackson this weekend?
Well, honestly, I think it would be probably in our SARACEN segment, right? Is like surely they have in fact, I'm going to look it up right now and see if they have one.
Closer to game day, they'll definitely have it.
Yeah. I mean, if I was just guessing for an over-under, I'd say what? 121.5?
Ooh, I
Maybe?
think it's gonna be lower than that.
You think so?
Just because Auburn's only given up like 120 in a game once this year, and that was to a team. Like, I think it's going to be below. Like, I could see it maybe being around 100, but I think it'll be below 100.
I got it. BetSaracen.com has it right now. It's a double R prop play, but it's at plus 350. So that gives you an indication. It's probably going to be
high.
Yeah. He's got Ja'Quinden Jackson, total yards rushing over 134.5, but also over 16.5 total rushing attempts. So,
I guarantee you he gets that many attempts.
for sure.
That many attempts.
If he has one leg attached to his body, he's going to get more than 17 attempts in this game.
So if that number is plus 350, I bet his actual over under day of the game will be around like 80, 85.
Yeah.
Maybe around 100, but it'll be around 100, I would imagine. But less than.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, so you pretty much nailed it, Andrew. Besides the special, it's at 86.5 for Ja'Quinden Jackson.
Yeah.
So it's about fair.
Taylor
Green's at 67.5, by the way. Over
rushing?
under. Yeah.
I'll take the under on that for sure.
I don't know. Depends on how it
Because if he
goes.
just gets sacked once, that pretty much takes him out of that. I mean,
I think he's going to get sacked once for a loss of like 17 yards, and then it's going to
Destroy it.
It'll get him for sure. I'm thinking right around 100 for Jackson in this game.
so you'd maybe go over on that 86.5.
I think I go over on the 86.5. I mean, plus 350. I might be interested.
Dude, I'll tell
in
you, if he
134.5,
hits
but
that Saracen prop and hits like 135,
they're in a good spot,
dude. And then also it's time to really this conversation of is he the best running back in the country, SEC? It all becomes very different because if he does that against Auburn, that's a statement, and that means Arkansas wins. So it would that'd be good for sunshine pumping.
I mean, and it stands to reason that defenses are going to really start looking to bottle up this rushing attack as much as possible and just beg Taylor Green to beat him with his arm, right?
JJ would die before he falls under a hundo.
He
SEC's
might,
a good commenter.
Yeah, he might. And I know we're kind of just talking about now, but I think I may bet the under on this one. Jarquez Hunter is at over under at 91.5 rushing yards. I may bet the under.
He's got like around 400 on the year. He's been having a good year.
Yeah. He's got Jarquez Hunter he's only got 273 yards on the year.
Huh.
But he's averaging 7.6 yards a carry. So, there's that.
Good Lord. 7.6 and 8.4 for the two running backs in this game.
Neither one of them are going to hit that
No.
Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually could see this being a little bit of like a slugfest where neither run game is like lighting it up.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I could honestly, I could see that too.
Frankly, if you run the ball against Arkansas, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you could easily get a 9-yard completion, let your quarterback sit there for 5 seconds. You can get that at any point. Running the ball is like the one way you can kind of let them catch their breath.
True.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Hunter's going to get it, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's why they do it on betting on BetSaracen, so you can take the risk there. But hey, if the no-fly zone Hudson Clark ain't playing, then you just gotta just throw it all over the field if you're Auburn, or try to at least.
Kingsley says Hunter will be harder to contain than Gordon.
I agree with
honestly,
that.
It's hard to disagree because Gordon's been getting clamped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing, especially with that entire offensive line, like the same group and the same running back that produced, is a Doak Walker season, and they can't get nothing going. Absolutely wild.
That experience of the line, though, bro.
Heartbroken Hog, I get what you're saying. Like when teams load the box on us, don't y'all think Bobby will be able to get receiver? Yeah, but is he going to be able to hit the target? Are those guys going to be able to catch the football? Like it's really been just Andrew Armstrong or bust. And so like if other guys emerge, great. Like if Tyrone Broden starts catching the football, if they remember that Luke is on the team, then sure, sign me up for those kind of things. And I do think that Taylor Green will be more accurate than he was last weekend, but I don't know for sure that other guys are really going to step up in that receiver room. Like
I touched on it on Monday's show. I just really don't like that almost all of Arkansas's passing plays are just traditional drop back passes, no play action, no screen. Like they're almost like designed deep throws. I mean, you have 4 receivers on the field. Like I really don't like that they're I mean, and, against Oklahoma State, they converted so many 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10s in obvious passing downs, which maybe gave them the confidence to do that. But against UAB, like it seemed like Taylor was in desperate need of just a quick completion off to the side to get you going. Quick little dump off here to dump off down to Rodney Hill or whoever. And so I think if they're going to start, if teams start loading the box, I'm all for, trying to beat them with, but I think it's got to be a lot of play action. It's got to be a lot of rolling them out, like making it as easy as possible for them. I don't think it's sustainable for Arkansas to just count on Taylor Green to drop back and beat teams from the pocket consistently.
No, I don't think it is either. And I know somebody had the comment start here, which is something that we could dive into because everyone's asking about it. But like Eureka String saying, y'all think they throw the ball to Haz this weekend or leave him in the purgatory?
I think they leave him in purgatory.
I mean,
he might catch a pass or two, but
it's wild, man.
It's bizarre.
I think I think he definitely will catch up maybe 1 or 2, but I'd have a hard time believing they're just going to randomly start unleashing him. But who knows?
Yeah. I don't know if they will. And I don't, again, it goes back to waiting and seeing and show me something. Until you do, I'm not going to believe it. And if he's not able to get going against UAB or UAPB or whoever, like, then when is he going to?
It's a shame that I'm about to say this. I'm more confident that Tyrone Broden catches a few passes in this game because at least they've been throwing to him just poorly, throwing inaccurate passes or he falls down or he drops. But it's not like Sam claimed and tried to make it out like, oh, we've been trying to get him the ball. It just hadn't worked out. It's like he's only been targeted like 4 times all year. Whereas Broden at least they're trying to get him the ball. It's just not working. So I'm actually more confident that Broden, quote unquote, gets going.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to bring this up for Stripey Sweet. He says Haz has been playing hurt, I think. And there's no doubt I feel like he's probably got a nagging injury. Does not matter. He's on the field. If he's on the field and he's got a nagging injury, but you still know what he's capable of. Like then if he's that hurt
with the back injury.
Yeah, it's like if he's that hurt to where he can't be targeted, then he doesn't need to be on the field. You need to put Ty Washington in or somebody else in if that's the case. That's
what I was going to say is I think it's just like tight end in general for me because you got some real pass catching weapons there. So like if it's not Haz, then yeah, Ty Washington, for whatever reason, his name got removed from that conversation with Sam Pittman. He was talking about Barkeys Gums, whatever, throw him the ball too. I don't know. I feel like they got some nice weapons at tight end. They're just not being utilized.
Can I just say how happy I am? And it has nothing to do with this guy, though we have not heard Andreas Poski in his name be brought up by anybody in the media. I'm so happy
weird
for that.
He's actually been playing.
Yeah. Special teams, man. That dude's been pancaking dudes on kickoff. But I'm just glad that everyone's like, hey, how are you going to find out a way to get Andreas Poski the ball? Like, how do you do it?
Was that him that took out the punter last week?
Was it him?
I think so, actually.
I want to say it was.
No, they had a chance to bring him up, and they didn't.
Didn't know I couldn't do that.
Is that illegal? I didn't know that. All right, I know we'll get to more of your chats, but real quick, as far as BetSaracen, one of our great partners here on Inside Arkansas, we appreciate them. Download the BetSaracen app today, as it is the best, bar none, sports betting app in the entire state of Arkansas and the only betting app worth using. We're going to do a little bit of what's more likely today. Just a few quick ones. And this is one of the ones that we've talked about with Ja'Quinden Jackson. So you can play along in the chat. We won't read it, but you can play along. What's more likely? Ja'Quinden Jackson to have 200 yards rushing against Auburn or Taylor Green to have 400 yards passing against Auburn?
Ja'Quinden Jackson to have 200 yards rushing.
Probably, right?
Man, and that's what's crazy because Auburn's done such a good job against the run. But I think I'm with y'all.
It is crazy that and another thing is Arkansas's had 2 400-yard passing games this year. I just can't imagine them having a third, I guess, is really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you have Taylor Green throwing for 400 yards, Luke has better be part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the single game receiving yards record? Because Andrew Armstrong would break it if Taylor Green throws for 400 against Auburn in this game.
Andrew knows that answer to that question. I know he does.
I guess it's still Kobe 303, 30, what is it? 309, 311,
311, yeah, somewhere in there. But yes, over 300 yards. But hey, if Andrew Armstrong, here's the thing: if that was the case, that's fine with me. If they were leaving him that open and he was making that many catches, going for 300 yards, yeah, keep feeding him, keep giving him the rock. But Yeah, I guess we're probably all on board there. Now, both teams are terrible at turnovers as far as not getting them and also committing them. So what's more likely, Arkansas to have more turnovers or Auburn to have more turnovers in this game?
I mean, Auburn to have more turnovers. Well, gosh, I don't know. Yeah,
they really haven't forced like any this year because their margin, didn't we say, is the worst in the country?
Worst in the SEC and worst in the country,
SEC.
yeah. And the country, yeah.
So that makes me feel like they're due to like get a fumble or something. Like that's because it seems like some bad luck to not have any turnovers.
That's true. That's fair. That's valid. I mean, they're starting a 3-star redshirt freshman quarterback. And it's just second game, and it's his SEC opener. He's gonna make a mistake, right? I guess they got to get a little pressure on him, but he's gonna make at least one mistake.
You would think.
Not only did he not have a turnover, he didn't have a turnover-worthy throw, according to PFF.
No. Yeah, he really didn't. He was sharp in there, man. Taylor Green is the more seasoned quarterback here, but somehow, even despite completing fewer than half of his passes, he only was picked off once instead. It's UAB, so.
Turnover margin for Auburn. They've lost 5 fumbles this season. That is almost dead last in the country and obviously dead last in the SEC. So if you're wondering where their turnover margin is so terrible, is they haven't really done a great job of getting turnovers on as far as defensively, but they've been fumbling the ball a lot, even worse than Arkansas, if you can believe it. So
and they had a 4-pick game, which
that doesn't help either. Yeah,
Jeremiah's got Arkansas at 670 yards of offense in this game, I think.
Are they playing twice?
Dude, what a call.
What? Jeez, dude. All right. Call your shot.
They will win if they get that.
Yes.
Even though they lost the
game
game where
that against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they certainly that won't happen twice in one year, right? Where they get double up the other team in offensive yards and still lose the game. Surely not.
I don't think I'd be able to say anything in the post game. Like if you get 670 yards and lose again, I just
Randy Rainwater post game phone lines go. We're not saying a word, just letting y'all have it.
This could be a turnover fest, couldn't it?
It could be disgusting. Like there's a lot of potential for this to just be an ugly game. And basically who sucks less is the one that wins. All right. So what's more likely, Arkansas to give up more plays of 20 plus yards or Auburn to give up more plays of 20 plus yards?
I feel like Arkansas has had a pretty explosive, like they generate big plays fairly consistently. Like even if they're not moving the ball every possession, I think they'll have some big plays. But I don't know.
I don't know. I could see a pretty sharp downturn in that for Arkansas because a lot of those explosive plays have been like just busted plays where Taylor Green gets the edge and he rushes for 30, or it's like a random, second and 13, you hand it off to Jackson. He's just better than everybody. And you're still going to have some of that, but these defenses are going to keep getting better and better. I guess you could hit Andrew Armstrong 4 or 5 times for 20 yards, but is anybody else going to catch a pass longer than that? I don't know.
Arkansas gave up a lot of chunk plays against UAB.
They did.
But I will say Taylor's legs are an X factor here because I think he's more likely to rattle off a big run than Hank Brown is. But who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I probably would lean towards Arkansas or Auburn giving up more because I still think Arkansas is going to have those long runs by Taylor Green randomly. I think Ja'Quinden Jackson may have a couple. And then you guys mentioned like finding Andrew Armstrong for like 18 times in this game is probably going to be a thing. So surely a few of those will be 20 plus yards, but I don't know. And finally,
Arkansas has 22 plays this season of over 20 yards. Auburn has 22 plays this season of over 20 yards.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Both sides. I will say
it's second in the SEC only to Ole Miss, who has 29. So
I see a lot of people talking about how New Mexico's quarterback was dicing Auburn up. I got to be honest. I've watched New Mexico a lot this year because they played week 0. Their quarterback, Dampier, is really hard to tackle. Like he was making Auburn defenders miss like crazy, but not just Auburn. Like he's been making plays, even though they're horrible. He just makes stuff happen. And so he busted them for a couple, getting loose, making a defender's miss in the pocket and then getting out and running for 20 yards. But But yeah, I don't know.
I imagine that Auburn people doing the exact same thing that we're doing right now are going, hey, our guys won by 4 scores at home, and Arkansas nearly lost to that school in Birmingham.
Right.
100%.
Well, and they also are probably under the impression that they found their quarterback, which seems to be true. And
I did hear the Locked On Auburn guy say that he felt like Cal is slightly better than Arkansas. And I thought that was a take. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, nobody
You're going to take that,
best.
Hog fans?
That's a hot take, man.
Y'all going to take that? Y'all going to let him say that the liberal agenda is better than y'all at football?
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. We got to own the libs.
You got to own the West Coast libs, man. Come on.
But yeah, I'm actually going on in Zach's podcast today for Auburn. Yeah. I don't know.
That's wild behavior.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spoken like a true Auburn fan. Like it's just, that's the way it is. Jeez. Okay, this is sponsored comment, so we got to read it. Eagle, whatever. Eric Musselman just got his Twitter hacked. LOL.
No
What
way.
happened? What happened?
Really?
Fill us in. Screenshot and send it.
That's electric.
Yeah, we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to get to the bottom of this right away.
Crypto, like what's?
Yeah, is it crypto or is it like an inappropriate picture?
Did he PS5s?
Did he do like Jay Williams or whatever and just tweet out a stat that was not true and then just says he got hacked?
Yeah, if he tweeted anything out, he deleted it real quick.
Yeah, because it's
everyone's saying that it's
awesome.
deleted. Someone age 8 says hacked by USC Athletics. What was that? I don't know.
But apparently it was crypto.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
How mad is he right now?
He's fuming.
Like he is punching air so hard right now, screaming at Ruda.
And he's firing his social
He's
media.
definitely screaming at Ruda.
Yep. Just like Ruda's like from Entourage with Lloyd. Whenever he comes in with R, he just Ruda, just like starts screaming. And he has nothing to do with anything, but just get in here and I want you to yell at somebody. We love you, Ruda. We love you, Ruda. It's all in fun because I know you watch. It's all in fun. But yeah, that's awesome. Eureka Street said, "Did he send a picture from the view of the Buffalo hotel room?" No. I doubt he's in Buffalo today.
Listen, I was not alone in my feelings about Buffalo.
No, I was with
talking
you.
about Muss.
Oh well, yeah, know that. Yeah. Oh man,
But hey,
man, that was a fun fact. Just to kind of take it to the since you brought up. I don't know if I told you this, Chris. That was the first one-on-one in-person interaction I ever had with Eric Musselman. Was that moment? That was the very first time.
It's memorable.
Yes, it was. And it kind of summed him up. Like I was like, it makes all the sense in the world now, looking back on it. Some people in the chat were saying, what do you think Eric Musselman, or Ace says, what do you think Eric Musselman's Twitter password is? And SCT says, Muscleman1. It's like, yeah, probably that. As long as he didn't do, what was it that Bielema did? Steinmetz photos? Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was tough.
He confused his tweets with the search bar a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which again, I'm knock on wood, I've not had that happen, but I still wonder, like, how does that happen? Like, how long these people have been using Twitter a while, right? Like, there's a pretty big staunch difference in saying, I don't know, but
A friend of ours and a friend of the program did that not too long ago. But
oh, hey, come on.
I'm leaving it at that. You know what I'm talking about, though.
I guess I'm not. I probably do know, but I'm not aware of it.
You definitely know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about it.
Well, I'm gonna have to get a refresher after the show though, because we can't be calling that
For
stuff
sure.
out.
We're not gonna out this person.
No, they're too nice.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get to your Arkansas update presented by Davis and Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Go see my boy Clayton over there. He'll get you squared away for all insurance needs. And I was gonna use it for what's more likely, so we may have to kind of like category and all that. But hey, the official announcement, I guess, of Arkansas in Kansas at Bud Walton Arena for an exhibition charity game, Curtis. We got a date and everything.
Yeah, man, that's exciting. October 25th, Bud Walton Arena. That's coming up quick. I mean, it's a little over a month away. That's kind of crazy that we're getting so close here. That's going to be so good, man. It's going to a good cause, but just love that Purdue exhibition. It was a lot of fun. It's a packed house, just a great environment. It's really cool, even though it doesn't count. that's something to be excited about and something to show up for. So glad that they're doing that. That's going to be a blast. And then a week later, November 1st, they're going to be officially at TCU at Dickey's Arena. A little Friday evening action. Somebody asked earlier if we're going to that. I am. I don't know if I'm going to be alone or not. Arkansas football plays the next morning at 11 o'clock or something, but I'm going to be at that game. Yes, to answer the question.
Wait, hold on a second. So that's the Mississippi State weekend, right, for football?
I think it's Ole Miss,
so.
right?
Or is it
no,
Ole
wait,
Miss?
hold on. The November 1st is
one of them is Mississippi State. One of them is Ole Miss, I think.
Okay.
I think November 1st is the TCU, right? And then I think November 2nd is Ole Miss.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Heck of a slight schedule there for the exhibition. So I'll go ahead and ask the what's more likely question here, because now that we've I wanted to bring it up and set it up. But what's more likely, the Arkansas goes 2-0 in those exhibition games, or they go 0-2? What's more likely?
2-0.
I think 2-0.
Yeah, I do too. Because
Kansas is going to be really, really good this year. But playing
heard that about Purdue too, and
playing them in Bud, it's going to be the first opportunity for Cal to coach in there, which will be cool. TCU sneaky good. Like I think they're going to be a bubblish team. But I would be more surprised if Arkansas lost to TCU than I would be that they beat Kansas in Bud Walton Arena. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you think Cal's really going to play like 14 guys though?
He will not do the Eric Musselman thing in an exhibition, but I bet he leans on his top 9 pretty heavily.
Do you know how obnoxious Razorback fans are going to be if they go 2-0 in those exhibition games that don't count?
Yes. Yeah,
it's going to be great.
Yep.
I can't wait to see it. Fun little trivia question for you guys. I wouldn't know it, so I don't know if you do. Can you name the last time that Kansas played a game in Fayetteville against Arkansas?
We're talking about just basketball?
Yeah, just basketball. I mean, I'll just tell you because you're not going to get it, because I wouldn't have gotten it. If I don't get it, I know y'all aren't going to get it. But
it's not my lifetime.
It's not. It's not mine either, and that's saying something. This was back in 1986 on December 6th. They played the number 6 Kansas Jayhawks and won 106-86.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I also didn't realize the year before they played there in Fog Allen Fieldhouse, and they lost that game to Kansas. But that game, I love how it has the TV notes on Hog Stats. That was on KATV only. It wasn't on ABC or anything, just KATV, the local news station. Probably sent Paul Eels up there and had him call the games back when you could do those things. So, yeah. But it's gonna be pretty iconic. And I'm with you guys and like everybody else. Give me a true game or an exhibition. I don't care. Just give me something in Fog Allen. Just make that happen.
Yeah.
Do not care.
Yeah, that'd be a blast, man.
I'll be like, hey, we'll play 3 games in Fog Allen if it means only 1 in Bud Walton. Like, I'd 100% sign up for that. So,
hey, are we going to Hot Springs?
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that up too. The tour around the state, it looks like, for John Calipari, right? Doing a bunch of camps and whatnot.
12th.
Go to the Hot Springs, check it out, and
I'm still not sure what that is. Like, are they just going to go practice there and like people can watch, or I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they'll put on a show for everybody.
I'd love to go. Yeah.
Maybe it's just like a banquet.
Banquet? Yeah, could be a banquet.
Although, man, we really got to find a way to get into that pro day.
I know. Well, maybe Cal will actually open it up.
That'd be cool.
Must never wanted to do it.
You think SEC Network will be there?
Yes.
Maybe.
I think they'll allow them in there.
Hey, I didn't see anything in Cal's release about a Midnight Madness. You think the details are just being ironed out, or
BWA Live 2.0? I don't know.
Yeah. According to the schedule, October 6th is the women's clinic. They get a first look at our team and an autograph basketball. October 9th is the pro day. And then October 12th is the team tip-off event tour, or team tip-off tour event in Hot Springs. And they'll have another team tip-off tour event October 13th in Pine Bluff. And we'll have the Samaritans feet events at both locations during the weekend. And we'll give out 3,000 pairs of shoes. So
cool.
It's going to be a cool event and all that. And then I love how he ends his tweet. Then the real stuff starts.
There we go. Yeah.
None of this fake stuff.
Shout out to you, Lipscomb.
Bring it on. Yes. Oh, man. I can't wait, though. I know we're in football season, but basketball is going to be here quickly, and it's going to be exciting to see when it all goes down. Let's see. A few other things in the chat I want to get to because there's some other stories in the national landscape that we can dive into before we get off of here just for a few more minutes. I like this, though. Tyson Foods just said, just delivered a Porsche Cayman to Coa-Pete. So
Appreciate you, Tyson.
Walmart, now Tyson. We're getting all the big-time companies in there.
It's big time.
Yep. Gerald Jones says, if we win this weekend, can we get positive Curtis back?
Have I been negative?
I mean, I haven't thought so, but apparently Gerald Jones thinks you've been Johnny Raincloud around
If we're
here.
talking about this football season, I've just been telling you guys exactly how it was going to play out. So far, I've been nailing it.
All right. Sorry to hijack, just to let everybody know, be on the lookout because now Darren Ravel's Twitter just got hacked. So they're going after the big dogs. For this crypto thing.
Here we go.
So yeah, keep checking out those tweets and making sure that doesn't happen, as apparently it's an ongoing thing. Eric Musselman and Darren Ravel, so who they're really targeting here in this one. Let's see. Streepius Wig said, I think he's referencing when you were trying to walk me off the ledge.
Yeah, I mean that's
That
the
was
thing.
honestly
Like I would
fun.
love to go off the deep end after one of these games, but I feel like John gets so off the rails that me and Andrew got to really, kind of go the opposite direction for his safety and just for the sake of the brand here.
Yeah. I just get mad. That's all it is. I just get very mad. That's all it is. But then if Arkansas wins against Auburn, you'll probably be like, you'll hear me be like, they got it figured out, put it together. They're going to go on a roll here. It's going to happen. 100%.
That's when people really start calling me negative because they win that game. I'm just going to kind of be like,
I'm like, yeah, well, you still got to do more. And it's like, Curtis, why do you live here? You hate the Hogs.
Y'all are not going to be able to talk me down from the pedestal I put this Razorback football team on. If they win like 13-10 against Auburn, I'm going to be like, credit to the kids, man. Proud of the kids. That was great.
Yeah,
I'll be in great spirits after that.
Yeah, we'll see. It would be like, hey, listen, they'll beat A&M. If they beat Auburn, they're definitely going to beat A&M. And
I'm gonna become Lord of the Sunshine Pumpers if they even just squeak by in any form or fashion.
Yeah, if that happens, I guess you'll have to watch the live stream, folks. It's probably that Nature Post Game show following immediately after the Arkansas and Auburn game, and you have to find out for yourself. So, few things though. What'd y'all think of Adrian Wojnarowski just peacing out, dude? Like retiring from ESPN and then going to become the general manager of St. Bonaventure's basketball program.
go Bonnies.
I wonder if he's going to get some honorary baggy shorts.
Ooh, maybe so.
But I saw in his statement, he had a funny thing where he was like, I've spent so long covering everyone else's teams. It's time for me to get back to my team, which I thought was cool. I mean, because he went to school there, I'm sure he would just like to be a normal guy that, does stuff for his team and the people he cares about. So good for him. I saw another tweet that was like, how stressful was his job that like taking over the NIL funding of a school was like a way for him to relax into the sunset.
It's true. Dude was everywhere. Yeah, he was everywhere. And I didn't realize he was only 55 years old. I honestly thought he was older, but only 55. So
The Shams world now.
I guess so. You're going to have somebody else, going on there dropping Shams bombs. Don't sound as good as Woj bombs, but people will deal with it.
He's a legend, man. He really is.
He is. And okay, I'm going to bring this up and it's going to get me in trouble. But I'm kind of pissed off about the documentary that the University of Arkansas is doing about the redemption game in 1999 against Tennessee. It pisses me
I didn't
off.
know they were doing a documentary.
Apparently so, because we need another one. Not to go on just a rant, but I hate the fact. I think like this is the most overrated Razorback sports story in the history of Razorback sports. It's the most overrated story. It gets just beat like a dead horse. Yes, it was great, but that's not a redemption to me. You know what redemption is? Is you go winning the SEC the next year or winning the national championship next year. But hey, the redemption story, because as I mentioned last night, does anybody remember what happened after this Tennessee game? Does anybody remember that? Oh, Arkansas went on the road to LSU, who was 0-7 in the SEC and had just fired Gary DiNardo, was lame duck coach, and they lost 35-10. Nobody remembers that. But it's just like they bringing out this stuff where I feel like we've had an SEC storied on this. We've had I forgot what channel it was, but there was another documentary that was on there too. And I'm like, why can't we do a documentary? What I feel like do it the Petrino years. I feel like we don't have enough info from the Petrino years. Do one on the Gus Malzahn Houston Nutt saga. Do something on something interesting instead of this.
Nobody would eat up a Petrino years doc more than John Neighbors.
Oh, dude,
that would be
crying.
become his personality. You know how people were with The Last Dance? Oh, he would go nuts on that.
Dude, like I would watch it without pants on, and I'd be just crying the whole time. Like it'd be great.
I'd like another good Houston Nutt doc, personally.
Yeah, thank you. I think that would be interesting. Because as long as they cover the negatives instead of this, puff piece that they keep throwing out there.
Messages he sent on the sideline to his wife's friend that he was, you remember all that? That was good
stuff.
Oh,
trust me. Local news anchor. Oh, yeah. Dude, I was wrapped up in all that stuff. I saw the cell phone records. 1,000 text messages to that one woman in 1 month. 10 minutes before the bowl game. Come on now. But
you think we could get Mitch Mustaine on the show?
I think so. Maybe. He's just chilling. I don't know what is people still interested in that part? Like, would they want to hear from Mitch Mustaine? I don't know. Maybe they would.
I want to hear from Mitch Mustaine. I want to hear what he has because I know he'll say something crazy.
Yeah. Honestly, let's just be clear about this. What would be the best documentary right now to do something on? The Eric Musselman era. Now that would be something. I would love to hear that. Get Curtis on there like Billy Lucci was on the Johnny Manziel doc. Just giving the deets.
I used to say I was going to write a book about the Nick Smith year, and then this past year happened. So,
dude, Curtis would be such a good feature in the documentary of the Musselman era. Oh man, he really would. That'd be good stuff.
Yep. Yep. They have like Curtis like sitting in a room that's not his office, but it makes it look like it's his office. With from the different camera angles, talking about, you'll never believe what we witnessed and experienced down there in the Bahamas.
I might have to get the voice changer thing and just like a blurred out face. You guys can just assume.
Random observer. You'll be like the dude in the Michigan. I don't know if y'all ended up watching the Connor Stallions, the guy, the Brohio guy that was like in a ski mask.
Yeah, just be that guy. So would that be the best documentary or the one that'd be most interesting that you want to know about?
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I think so.
It'd be a real good one.
People like Silent Age 8 what about the early 1900s of Razorback football? Yeah, that would be, dude, that'd be so fun. I don't think I'd be more balls deep in boredom than watching the 1900s early Razorback football.
I read that wrong like 5 times. I thought it was early 1990s, and I was like, there's quite a bit about that actually. No, early 1900s. My bad.
Yeah, back when they were the Cardinals instead. It's like, that would be great.
I mean, well, dude. They should have like a documentary, like a Hugo Bezdek, but not a documentary, just like a reenactment. They actually tried to do that. I don't know if I've told y'all this story, and I'm going to tell it now. I went to this event. It was like 100 years celebrating the Razorbacks in 2009, and they had this guy, an actor, pretend to be Hugo Bezdek, and they like got off a train, and he like reenacted it and was like, "Yes, I am the head coach of the Arkansas Cardinals or Cardinal. And now we're going to be the Razorback," and like gave the whole speech of, they played like and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. We need to have more of that.
You're telling me there was a man that they actually paid or maybe not paid to play as an actor, Hugo Bezdek?
And this was 2009. And so they brought a bunch of players from the football team on there, like Mallett, Wilson, London Crawford, all these dudes. And they were like on the train with them, pretending to be the 1909 Razorbacks. It was unbelievable. That's that all those pictures I have with former Hogs that I was
from that.
It was that day. It was that event because they also had like players from all teams that were there.
That's nuts, man.
Hey, if there's a former Hog great player or coach, Andrew Ellis has a picture with him.
I got a picture with Frank Broyles from that day.
Yeah, dude.
This was like right before he died too.
Man. So yeah, you probably got some in your room, just an epic collage of Razorback fandom there and growing up with it.
I can't find all of them.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you do one day.
I posted the cool ones on Facebook when I was like 12, and so I've got those.
Before we get out of here, by the way, Blake said Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine came out in 2013, 6 out of 10 on IMDb. I watched that. It was interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't the real deal.
No, it wasn't. There was other elements to it that been going on. So anyways, all right, guys, before we wrap up, any final thoughts want to share? Or are you done with everything and just want everybody to just get over it and join us tomorrow?
I'm going to try to get geared up to really become heavily invested and prepared for this game tomorrow.
Listen, guys, it's not going to be a great game. It's going to be ugly, but it matters because our stories matter.
I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
I mean,
Hey, listen.
I think as it gets closer to Saturday, people will start to at least get involved as much as they can. It might just be more of a let's get this over with, but let's get this over with.
I can't wait.
Let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we're working with.
I can't wait for the Arkansas game. It's going to be like the worst game ever, and Arkansas is just going to like benefit from a terrible play by Auburn or something to win, and then everyone's going to be back on board and it's just like, no.
I'll tell you, our stream tomorrow will probably be what creates a lot of excitement.
It's true.
The only thing missing so far in this season is a game where Arkansas fans feel like they got screwed by the officials.
This is it.
We had the one possession loss. We've had the clunker against a bad team at home. It's time for the officials to become involved. That's all.
Yep. And this is the perfect opportunity. It's going to happen in one of the next two games for sure. But yeah, it's probably going to happen. Which, yeah, as a reminder, we're going to be doing the live stream of our EA Sports College Football Simulation tomorrow night. And there's a little twist on this. We are opening up the phone lines for that. So if you want to watch it with us and you want to call in and yell about stuff, we'll be here and we can all do it together. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page here at Inside Arkansas for all the great content we put out each and every day. Be sure to check out InsideArkansas.com where you're having constant, if I can speak, it's fine. I do it for a living. Constant updates on everything that the Razorbacks have going on, not only football, but basketball related, baseball related, all that good stuff too. Check it out there as well. And we'll keep it going from there. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.